Good morning to all you beautiful people across this great land of ours, the United States of America. We have to keep working and fighting to stay free. How important it is that we work together. And today, my guest, Chip Tatum, is back by popular demand. Folks, he gave us information when he was here on the 23rd of April that should have shocked anybody, even a veteran like me who's been involved in this business for 48-some years. And on the 23rd of April, he gave us information I think that many of you never heard or never knew of. He talked about Operation Red Rock. He talked about the Pegasus hit team. He talked about how he was charged with treason. He talked about his exploits and his experiences as a 25-year CIA deep cover agent. And in the Nexus magazine, April and May 1997, I'm going to read the first paragraph. This tells it all about Chip Tatum. Veteran Special Forces Air Combat Controller, 25-year CIA deep cover agent, U.S. Army pilot flying classified missions during the U.S. invasion of Grenada, Iran-Contra pilot flying cocaine shipments labeled as medical supplies, and member of the ultra-secret international G7-run Pegasus hit team. This is the extraordinary story of Gene Chip Tatum. Welcome to the show again, Chip.
Thank you, Ted. Pleasure to be here.
My pleasure. Now, folks, we're going to have a series of 6 shows. We've already had one on the 23rd. We have one today, and we'll have a series for the next 4 days, a total of 6 shows, 12 hours. And if you want this tape, and I strongly urge you to get a copy of this tape and make copies. I hope that the studio there in Colorado doesn't mind me saying that, but make copies. We've got to get the word out. You can have 12 hours of recording, and this is without the commercials, for $49.95. And in order to obtain your order, you must call 800-205-6245. 800-205-6245. $49, and I would assume you make that payable to American Freedom Network. If there's any a difference on how you make that check payable to anybody else, let me know, folks. They're in the studio. And so you don't want to miss this. Be sure to listen to the next 5 shows, including today, and obtain a copy of your tape. Now, for those of you who only hear the first hour, this is a 2-hour show. I will summarize the information the next day of the second hour for those of you in the first hour. And, of course, you can also, as I said, buy a copy of the tape, the 12-hour tape. So we'll make sure that you're aware of everything, or nearly everything, that Chip Tatum tells us. Chip, how have you been since we were on the show last time?
Very busy.
I bet you have. You've done some other shows, haven't you?
I do. I'm currently doing about 3 to 4 shows a day, Ted.
Oh, fantastic. And where are these? Going all over the United States, all over the world? What?
All over the United States.
All right. Well, we need to get the word out. Did you contact my source in Mexico that I gave to you, or did they return the call yet?
I've contacted the source. I haven't received a return call yet. You know, the information is pretty damning, and especially the information I have, it includes a lot of Mexican officials.
I know that, and that's maybe you'll never hear back from him, by the way. That's the way it goes. We have to take your chances. I can understand why people be concerned, because there have been a number of journalists who have been murdered in Mexico, as I recall. And this was a member of the journalism industry or print media down there in Mexico. Chip, let's go over kind of a couple of items that we talked about last on the 23rd. What about this Pegasus group? What is the Pegasus group? Now, you told us they were spies on spies, right?
Initially, I think Pegasus was formed as a group to keep an eye on the intelligence community. Then it evolved into a little more. You know, the intelligence community grew to not only keeping an eye on the intelligence community, but gathering information on politicians on certain committees, so that if the needs be, there was enough information there to approach those people on behalf of the president and twist their arm, I guess.
How would that approach be? I mean,
I have no idea. On the intelligence side, we would simply supply the information on that. Then in 1981, there was National Security Decision Directive 3 was signed by President Reagan, which put intelligence in a completely new light. It took what we knew as intelligence, the intelligence community, and placed all intelligence assets under the Vice President of the United States.
Well, that was George Bush. Of course, he was running the country anyway.
That's right. But he wanted total control on the books, too.
And what, say you had some information on a politician, and you wanted him to, are you saying that you'd go in there and influence his vote?
No, not my section, no. We were international. I didn't deal in that. But from what I understand, that was done earlier in the Pegasus group. As time went on, I didn't join the unit until 1986. In 1986, our mission was completely different. It was an international mission. We had Turkish intelligence, Danish intelligence, British intelligence, and Israeli intelligence working in what I'm calling Pegasus with us.
Well, let's go back at the beginning. Let's dissect this Pegasus group. I find this very fascinating, very interesting. When was it established? Would it be 1981 or was it prior to 1981?
No, I think it was right after World War II. Some of the old fellas in there had been around for quite some time.
And what was their mission?
Their mission at the time was to spy on spies.
Now, this is the Pegasus group. It's a group within the CIA, right?
That's correct.
So it's kind of like the Freemasonry, the secret society within a secret society.
Right.
And
kind of like the secret government within the government.
Government within the shadow government.
That's correct.
An arm of the shadow government within the government itself. And these breaks are going to come around real fast, folks. Ted Gunderson Intelligence Report. We'll be right back. Chip Tatum. And we're back. My guest today is Chip Tatum. Gene Chip Tatum. Where'd you come up with a nickname, Chip? Was that from childhood?
It is. My first name was Doyce, and I was a junior. My cousin's first name was Dorsey, and he was a junior. And my aunt, not my mother or his mother, said these boys can't go through life as Doyce and Dorsey, so she nicknamed us Chip and Skip.
Ah, excellent. Okay, I like that. Okay, we're going to dissect the Pegasus group. They were formed back right after World War II, a mission to spy on the spies. And what did evolve out of that, and when did it happen?
Well, you know, the old OSS was done away with right after World War II, and it was evolved into a central intelligence gathering unit because all the U.S. intelligence was never filtered into one central agency. It was all their personal or their individual property, and they didn't share that property. So, you know, intelligence really wasn't being shared between the military intelligence, defense intelligence, FBI intelligence. It was all absolutely separate and maintained separate. So the idea was to put together a centralized agency. That's the Central Intelligence Agency. That man who runs the Central Intelligence Agency, the Director of Central Intelligence, is the man who's responsible for collating all this intelligence data, analyzing it, and disseminating that back out. But it doesn't quite work like that, as I'm sure you understand, Ted. You know, the FBI intelligence network really doesn't trust the Central Intelligence people, and the Central Intelligence people don't trust the military intelligence people, and so the sharing really doesn't go on. The president wanted someone that he could trust, so he formed his own small group of operatives, which he called Pegasus. These were the people who worked and communicated their information directly to the President of the United States. Pegasus maintained their position with the President until just after the Kennedy assassination, and then they were taken, I would say they were taken AWOL from the President's direct control and put more in an international position, along with the Johnson and Nixon administrations.
Well, now, what about the National Security Council? Now, folks, NSC, there's NSA, National Security Agency, which really is responsible for communications primarily around the world, wiretaps and all that sort of thing, and monitoring communications, international phone calls. And now there's the National Security Council, and that's directly under the White House. It's right out of the White House, not answerable to Congress. What about them? Where do they fall into this intelligence picture?
Well, today the NSC are the ones who oversee who handle the Special Situation Group, Terrorist Incident Working Group, and the operational subgroups, which is actually Pegasus.
So NSC, National Security Council, operates the Pegasus Group. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Is everybody that belongs to the Pegasus Group part of the NSC?
No, simply because members of the Pegasus Group also come from MI6, Mossad, and other intelligence agencies. We answer, our orders will come from NSC leaders. On the U.S. side, if a U.S. Intelligence agent is involved in a neutralization or in a mission. However, those missions can be asked for. Maggie Thatcher can say, I want this done and I want it done now, and even though she's not an active politician, you can bet your bottom dollar it would be done. Even
though she's no longer in power, huh?
Well, she's in power.
But she's in power, but not by title.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
She's in power by virtue of a group of international financiers and international politicians that carry most of the power in the world today.
And now, this National Security Council, NSC, this has always been interesting to me. Say, now let's not be naive. Let's not say that the CIA has not been involved in assassinations. You and I know they have for years. What if, say, that the President of the United States wants to overthrow a particular government, which they've done in the past? I'd hate to count the number of governments they've overthrown. Would that come from the President or the Vice President down to National Security Council, from there on out to the CIA and the Pegasus Group?
It probably, in some sort of a relevance there, would be. Normally it's done directly to the OSGs. This is what we want to do. There are three existing OSGs. One handles arms, one handles terrorists, and one handles neutralization.
What is OSG?
Operational subgroup.
Are they part of Pegasus?
They are Pegasus.
Okay, so the Pegasus is the same thing as operational subgroup, huh?
That's right.
Okay, how many members are there in Pegasus?
Operational subgroup 2, we had about 80 operatives.
And there are certainly more in the Pegasus group than 80 operatives, aren't there? Or is that it? Is it a very elite group like that?
Now, you have to understand, operatives are full-time people. Now an operative sets up their own intelligence network. Myself as an operative, I could have people that I could contract to do any number of things. So, active operatives, that's a lot of active operatives in the field. The Mossad has about 25 active Kachas in the field at one time.
Okay, so we're looking at 80 operatives who each sets up his own intelligence group. Who supervises what those 80 operatives do? In other words, time for music again, folks. Ted Gunderson Intelligence Report. Be right back. We're dissecting the Pegasus Group. And we're back. My guest today is Chip Tatum. Chip, 25-year veteran, CIA. Chip, you're one of 80 operatives. You set up your own intelligence group. Who supervises what you do and the people that are under you?
We have a unit commander. That unit commander is in charge of the OSG. I supervise my people. They are independent networks, and we compartmentalize them so one doesn't know who the other is. If we need specialists, if we need an Archer team, that's the assassination teams for something, we will task for an Archer team, and those will be assigned. I probably only flew, out of 18 Archer missions, I as the pilot, I only flew the same guy maybe 3 times.
What is an Archer mission?
Archer mission, our Archers are our team, assassination teams.
Okay.
They're the men that go in and take care of the business.
My
job primarily is a special ops, and my forte, I can fly anything into any area and never be caught. They'd never know I was there.
How can you fly a big airplane into a country and never get caught? And where would you land it when you get in there?
Not necessarily a big airplane. It could be something small. It could be, there are many different ways to do what needs to be done. The mission would come down, then I would decide what type of aircraft we would use for the mission.
All right, so you're in a small airplane. Can you get in and out, avoid radar, and land? You'd have to know ahead of time where to land, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that all has to be planned. That's why rotary wing is ideal, except the rotary wing mission is restricted restricted by fuel loads.
Okay. We've overthrown governments through the CIA for years now. And who makes the decision as to whether or not a certain government will be overthrown? And how many countries have we